Hey everybody, I'm Ross again, and thanks for watching as we start this journey throughout the Bible. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, especially since you've clicked this video, who is this guy and why should I care? So, let me tell you a bit about myself and how God brought me to this point of starting this channel. So, like I said before, I'm Ross. And just FYI, I'm going to be doing this in one take. I'm not going to edit this video at all. So I apologize in advance for any mess-ups or rambling that goes on. But anyway, I'm Ross, and I'm obviously disabled, no doubt. But my condition is called congenital muscular dystrophy. Now, if you're not familiar, what that is, it's a neuromuscular disease where my muscles are slowly degenerating as I get older. So, whenever I was 3 or 4 or 5, I could move decently. I could never walk, but I could still have decent movement of my arms and legs. Could scoot around, different things like that. But anyway, as I got older, I started losing more and more physical motion and just general ability. My hands and my feet and everything are contractured and all that. Probably can't see it on the video. But anyway, I came to Christ whenever I was, let's see, I don't remember how old I was, but it was August 5th, 2001, and I was born on August 19th, 87, so you do the math. Anyway, before that I had grown up in a Catholic church. We had gone to church a lot, and really, quite honestly, I didn't learn much of anything there. It's just the repetition of get up, sit down, kneel, get your communion, and go home. And so really, we were in church, but we really didn't know anything about God or Jesus or anything that He had done for us. So as I got older, I ended up needing to get a trach and a ventilator because my lungs had collapsed and started filling up with fluid, and my parents had to choose to either have me with a trach and a vent or I'd die. So obviously they picked the trach. So with that, I started needing a nurse pretty much all the time. At school, I had a very awesome woman as my nurse for school. And she started just telling me different things about Christ, really random things, almost. And I didn't really understand what she was talking about, really, but I knew that it was intriguing enough where I wanted to know more. So I'd start asking her questions. I mean, I wish I would remember the questions, but they were probably incredibly dumb. But anyway, I'd start asking her questions, and as she would tell me more, I would get more and more curious. So one of my other nurses needed to stay with me while my parents went out of town. So she said she would stay with me, but she'd only agree if I was able to go to church with them on that Sunday. So, my parents agreed, and I'm like, okay, can't be too bad. I thought it was going to be another Catholic church. So, anyway, we went that Sunday morning, and it wasn't a Catholic church. It was a Pentecostal church. And so, if you've ever been to one or both, you can kind of know the drastic difference of the two types of churches. Catholic church is very strictly 1 hour and then you're done, whereas a Pentecostal church, especially more of a Southern Pentecostal one, like the one we went to, lasted like, almost 3 hours. So, I'm asking my nurse like an hour and a half in, what are we eating? But anyway, it was just like how my nurse at school was telling me things. The pastor was talking about Christ, and again, I wish I could remember the message. What stuff he was talking about, I had no idea what in the world he was saying, but at the same time I wanted to know more. So I asked my nurse that had stayed with me that weekend to continue bringing me. And eventually started understanding little things at a time. I wouldn't find out till later that that's because God was drawing me to himself. So I started learning things and understanding who God was, what Christ had done. And let's see, it was probably a year or two before I was saved that I went to the MDA camp, the Muscular Dystrophy Association camp in North Louisiana. And on that Sunday, the guest pastor, I guess you could say, spoke, and there was another man with muscular dystrophy like me. And he spoke about pretty much God using everybody, that nobody's insignificant. At least I think that was the message. Again, this was all so long ago. And all I really remember was by the time he came to the point where he was offering for people to come pray with him to accept Christ, I was crying my face off. But the thing is, I didn't go up. I ran. I ran and I had no idea why. So, it wasn't long after that, maybe a year, whatever, that I was able to convince my parents to start coming to this church, this Pentecostal church, with me. So they came, and they were just as fascinated as I was about what was being spoken on. The same hunger and curiosity was awakened in them that was in me. Now, I hadn't accepted Christ at this point yet. So, it was about 3 or 4 weeks that we had been going to this church together as a family, that my parents said, look, this next Sunday, we're going to go up to the front and accept Christ. They said, you don't have to go with us. That's your choice. It's something you have to do for yourself. So the next Sunday came, and it was a message probably directed right at us. I remember the song that was sang by one of the choir members before the message. I don't remember the whole song, but the chorus was, what I found at the altar was mercy and grace. So all me and my parents could do was just look at each other. Man, what's going on? Kind of thing. So, whenever it came the point where, the end of the service, where the pastor always gave his invitation for people to come and accept Christ, he said something I always remember. He said, today is the day of salvation. So, my parents went up to the front and knelt at the altar like they said they would. But I stayed back. We sat at the back row of the church. And so I totally didn't even plan on going. So I watched them, and I was just kind of sitting there, and out of nowhere, God spoke to me. And he spoke in a voice that was like, so, if it would have been any more audible, if you know what I mean, he would have been like standing right there beside me. So all he said was, Ross. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And all I could say was, okay, I get it, I'm going. So what had happened is God called me by name. Pretty much said, I want that man. And so on that day, I joined my parents, August 5th, 2001, and accept Christ as my Lord and Savior. Now, after that, life just happens, and as the years go by, you end up drifting away, I guess you can say. The fire and the passion just kind of dwindled out. It never died, but it just kind of cooled, I guess you can say. I became lukewarm, which any of you that know the Bible will know that's a very dangerous place to be. But as time went on, I realized, God brought me to a realization of my lukewarmness, so I started trying to get back into His Word, and found it to be rather difficult to do for some reason. And so I talked with one of my friends, and we both agreed we needed to get back into the Word more than we were. And so we agreed we'd go through Ephesians together on our own time, and then whenever we would come and talk again, we would talk about what we had read and learned. We managed to get through Ephesians and started going through another book. I don't remember which one it was, but we really didn't get through the whole thing. That just kind of fizzed out. So, but I wanted to keep going. So what I started doing is I started looking for resources on how to help me with my own Bible study and drawing closer to God through the Word. And so because I'm a big tech guy, I guess you can say, one of the first places I went after going to iTunes and getting a podcast, downloading a couple of Kindle books and different things like that, I went to YouTube. And would you believe that there is nothing on, or at least I looked for quite a while, there's nothing on a comprehensive chapter by chapter series for YouTube going through the whole Bible. And as I'm seeing this, God was showing me, He said, look, Ross, there's a need here. He says, and because of your disability, even though you have your disability, you still have the mind that I gave you, and the heart and the passion that I gave you before. He says, you need to do this. Fill this need. And so I knew that that's what I needed to do. That's what God wanted me to do. But I procrastinated for a while. And He never left me alone about it. Till eventually I just started working on the material for this channel. I probably spent a good year and a half just doing the study and the notes and the videos and everything for Genesis. Now, the rest of the Bible is not going to take me that long, because I pretty much have a process now. But anyway, it took me quite a while to figure out my format, that this was supposed to be a discussion-based type of channel. So, even though I'm giving all of my notes and whatnot, I'm not really an expert in this type of shit. And this is all to help us draw closer to God through the Word. And God may reveal something to you about a particular chapter that He hasn't to me. And so, through the discussions that we have in the comments and video responses on YouTube, we can all build each other up in Christ through these discussions, using this channel that God had me start as the catalyst or the base. So that's what this channel is about. It's all about God helping me to go deeper into the Word, and in turn, me giving you an opportunity to go deeper in the Word with me. So, thanks for watching. That's really all I have. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe right up here or after the video. And if you'd rather just go back to Genesis 1, that's a link in the end of the video too. So, thanks again for watching, and I will hope to see you all soon.